think that people get in the habit of working outside of their natural style, and that's what burns them out. You know, when you're selling authentically, it's really not trying to position yourself as someone else that you know has been successful, right? You have to know who you are. You have to know the reasons you're doing this. You have to know what your values are, and you stand firm behind that, and it kind of shows in everything that you're doing. No successes happen overnight. If you think that working that extra 5 hours that day is going to get you to where you need to be, it's not. Success is made digging in the valley. Nobody sees. You know, when somebody says, oh, it's like she just became a success overnight. No, dude, you just didn't see everything that happened consistently up until this point.
I actually want to dive straight into the deep end, because you mentioned something that I had planned to ask you 6 questions from now. But do you think there's something there? Like, some people are more prone to burnout than not?
I think that there are different behavioral and personality styles. Like I said, I was working in this corporate environment for a long time and became real intrigued with why people do the things they do. Why do they make the decisions they make? Human behavior. Did some studying at Duke and other things. So I'm very well versed in this. And I don't think there's a specific entrepreneurial code or style that's more apt to burnout. I think what happens is that there are 4 primary behavioral styles. And I think that people get in the habit of working outside of their natural style, and that's what burns them out. It also makes you less successful. So I'll give you a perfect example. And you teach this, Blake. You have processes and procedures for maybe a different prospecting strategy, or how to do SEO, or how to run paid traffic, or whatever it is. And you tell people all the time, okay, just follow this process and it's going to be successful. Yeah. But what people don't understand is that process is a technical process. You still have to put your own flair on it. You still have to do it in the way that works for you, right? If somebody comes along and tries to sell like Aimee Ball or sell like Blake Snodgrass, and they have a different behavioral style, it's not going to work, and they're going to burn out. To give a very rudimentary example, it would be like Batman trying to jump off a roof and realizing that he can't fly like Superman and face planting on the concrete. Yeah, dude, you're a superhero, but you can't do it like Superman does.
What really helped me start to love sales was when I let it morph to my personality a little bit more. And maybe that's a really good segue into your whole notion I've heard you teach on, which is authentic selling. What does that mean? And how do you put that in your whole sales process?
You know, one of the benefits to doing sales for a corporate organization is that they spend a buttload of money on training and hiring these big consultants to come in and teach us, you know, spin selling and challenger sale and all this kind of stuff. And all those sales programs work. While that's great, they're telling you tactically what you should do, right? So you're sitting there and you're like, okay, well, this person just crossed their legs, so I'm going to cross my legs and mirror them. They never tell us why that works. And the reason that works is because we're sending off signals that we're like them. But what it never covers is language. It never covers how your audience wants to be addressed and how you feel best addressing them. So when I talk about authentic selling, it's like when it comes to me, what you see is what you get. Typically storytelling, and I could go on for hours, and I have an analogy for everything, and I emote and I talk with my hands, and everything's real big. But I also know that not everyone appreciates that. So I like to read my audience. If I'm having a conversation with a prospect and I notice that they're sitting back in their chair, they're not answering my questions, they're not telling me a lot of stories, that they're a little bit more indirect. They're focusing, when they are talking, they're talking about what results they're going to achieve that are very task-oriented in nature. I know, just based on the work that I've done, that I have to be real direct. I can't start telling stories and go off on an Aimee tangent. They want to know, how's the system going to work and how are they going to accomplish their goals? And they want to know it fast. The key is, like I said, understanding your audience and what they need, and then giving them that. When you're selling authentically, it's really not trying to position yourself as someone else that you know has been successful. You have to know who you are. You have to know the reasons you're doing this. You have to know what your values are.
Yeah.
And you stand firm behind that. And it kind of shows in everything that you're doing.
I really wanted to ask you, and this also kind of goes into like preventing burnout and stuff like that. How have you been able to find balance between being a very high performing entrepreneur and being a family woman and like having those priorities in place like that?
What I've realized is it really comes down to you personally. It really comes down to making sure you have the energy for what you're trying to do. The beauty of working in this type of business is that we get to control our time. We get to control when we work and where we work. And the truth is, unless you're on client calls, they don't know when you're working on their website. They don't know if you're doing it right now or you're doing it at 6:00 tonight. If I spend too much time with too many people, I bet events wear your ass out.
Worth every second of it, but like
Worth every second.
the
But
energy, it's a battery that drains, you know?
And you know that if you don't come back and recharge that battery, then you're good for nobody. This isn't just for work, guys. So think about it in the afternoon. You really have to think about this with your families too. You know, we go all day long and it's like we give to our clients and we give to our employees and we give to our business partners. And then we come home and our family gets what's left. And sometimes what's left really sucks. No successes happen overnight. So if you think that working that extra 5 hours that day is going to get you to where you need to be, it's not. Success is made digging in the valley. Nobody sees. You know, when somebody says, oh, it's like she just became a success overnight. No, dude, you just didn't see everything that happened consistently up until this point. You know, when you're grinding and you're hustling, yes, you know, you're going to push a little harder. You're going to notice like, okay, I need to take a step back. And when you feel that, I encourage you to actually do it because I didn't. So it's important during the day that as you're giving to everybody else, you take some time to give to yourself too. So that way, the time that you do have with your family and your loved ones, you can pour into them as well. You have to fill yourself up. And that's what I've realized. Long answer to a short question.
Thank you for your time today. I'll leave us with this. It was actually something I posted on Facebook yesterday that randomly happens to sync up with this really well. It was a quote. I can't remember where I heard the quote, but it said, everyone is jealous of what you got. No one is jealous of how you got it. That what you just said reminded me of that, right? Like no one is jealous of the fact that it takes a lot of work to find that balance and be in the grind phase while simultaneously taking care of yourself and those around you. Anyways, I just thought that was fitting.
100%, honey.
It means a lot to me that you would come on, share your experience, share some wisdom with us. Appreciate it. On behalf of everyone on here, thanks for coming in today.